Two, one.
Welcome to Wayne's World and Kelly Video Podcast. How are you doing, Kelly? Been a while.
I'm impressed how much you dressed up this morning. Wow, a white t-shirt. You're really come bringing it all out, aren't you? Whoa, game changer. Oh, look at that. Wait. Hey, here's my shirt. No,
Wow.
that's so really because I don't have one of those yet. And I'm a little hurt.
Well, that's because we don't have XXXXXXL.
So how's the contest going for you so far on your six-pack abs?
It hasn't been as good as I thought just because of the moves and everything going on, but I'm sticking to it as best as I can. So hopefully in 8 days when I land there, I can get my routine back because I do not like deviating from my routine at all. And there's been a lot of deviation. It's been hard.
Here's a little weird thing I'm going to say. I'm counting down the days till you get here. A lot of people are. A lot of people are excited you're moving down here. It's
dude.
Coming on a little rumble down here. So it's really cool. So I'm excited about that. As you probably know, I know you know, I went to another funeral for the great Greg Orndorff Sr., the founder of A1 Flood Tech this weekend.
Yep.
And had an amazing time. It was a true celebration of life. The last funeral I went to was a celebration of a short life. This one was for a gentleman who, was an octarian. So, or octogen, whatever, is over 80. But coming back, Southwest Airlines, you suck. Get it right, people. Come on. And don't tell me it's the weather. The weather was fine. And they need to get their act together. I don't know what is wrong with this world, but come on. We're supposed to be evolving as a society, and we're not. I can control the world with my darn cell phone, but they can't. I slept in the airport.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't sleep in the airport. However you want to say it. I stayed in the airport overnight, Sunday night. So I'm back. I'm happy to be here. I love South Florida. Can't wait to have you here. And I love this shirt. And XL will be just fine. Thank you.
Oh, okay.
I mean, come on. But all that traveling, everything, I'm up to 211 right now.
Okay.
7. So wow. The kegger contest, I'm thinking I'm winning. Not drinking, just my stomach resembling it. So
yeah, we got some work to do. We do, but we're gonna be okay. We're gonna be okay.
Oh, trust me, dude. I'm still a massive competitor, and I don't. Nobody die in my world. I'm not coming to your funeral. I need to focus on business. I need to focus on my face is where all that extra 4 pounds are. It's all right.
Right.
And I don't like it. I just don't like it.
No,
I'm not.
I don't need
it. I like feeling what I feel like at 200 pounds. Anyway.
Yep.
So, without any further ado, our guest is in the waiting room. We're going to go ahead and bring her in.
Awesome.
Here's Sydney. I love it. Guess what? You're sideways.
I'm sideways?
Yeah.
Not
I know
anymore.
what you were going for there, and I didn't know if it was going to work.
All right, we got it.
Like, look at it. First thing in the morning, she looks stunning.
Oh, aren't you so sweet?
Hey, no, I don't. I do. Wayne can tell you, I don't throw out compliments unless they're real. I mean, because I can.
Right.
I mean, I can compliment on his T-shirt, but that's about all I can do today.
That's right. That's right. Welcome to the show, Sid.
Thank you very much. Nice to meet you, Wayne.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah. So Wayne actually isn't. He looks very handsome this morning. He normally doesn't. He's got sort of a glow. I think it's that pre-moving to Florida glow that he's sporting.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm on the clock.
Where are you, Wayne?
Minneapolis, Minnesota.
Minnesota. Well, yes, you do need to move to Florida.
8 days. 8 days.
Minnesota, number one in carjacking per capita. So we got to get you out of there, brother.
Yes.
Although,
Yeah, I don't need any pushing or prodding. It's in motion.
no one's jacking your Mazda.
Yeah, no one's taking that car. Right.
Yeah, it's funny. I heard about that, and then I was getting into my Volvo SUV yesterday, and I'm like going, man, I can't drive to Minnesota. I'm going to get carjacked in this fly vehicle.
Yeah, exactly.
So Sydney, speaking of fly vehicles, what do you drive?
I drive a fun little Jaguar F-Type coupe.
Yeah.
It's a fun little. It's a zippy little car.
It is a fine looking automobile. I'm like going, of course that's what she drives. It's you.
I
Because
like performance cars. Definitely.
yeah,
Always
this is
have.
this is the worst introduction ever for you as we've done on the show, because I just went straight into it. So let's just keep messing around.
Okay.
When you're not working, what else do you do for fun? It has to do with driving.
Speed.
Speed.
So since a little kid, I have been riding a motorcycle, and I'd say 10, 12 years now, I've had a sport bike. And so I like to ride that either on tracks, racing it, and or for fun up into the hillside of Georgia, Alabama, because there's not a lot of hills here in flat Florida.
No. But how cool is that?
That's my stress reliever, is put my helmet on, put some music on, and ride my motorcycle.
I've been shopping for scooters.
You've been oh, right.
Well, because down here, I'm afraid to get, I was going to go out and finally buy that Harley I've always wanted. And the people drive so poorly down here. I went and got myself a tank instead. So,
I've often thought about how I could attach an I-beam to the front of my car, but yeah, I think it might really mess up the aesthetics of the car.
So why do we have you on today? But other than I think it's really cool that you race bikes. I mean, come on. Because you're younger than me. So, because at my age, you can't be out running around doing that stuff. So
by a lot.
Sticking for you, baby. But you've been working in a male-dominated world, business-wise, you're 29, so for the last 9-10 years.
Just a few.
Just a few. And I love it though. I love we're big proponents of or promoters of LinkedIn. In fact, I need 4 more people to follow my company, because then I get to 400, which I think I get a prize. Not bad for a company under a year old. But
Or for you.
I retired for a brief moment before I joined LGC. And on your LinkedIn, you retired for a minute.
Exactly. A brief moment, yes.
So what was there any type of plan there? You don't tell me any trade secrets, or did you really think you were going to dial it back for a little while and then you got sucked back in? What happened there?
You kind of hit the nail on the head there. So I had a wonderful 2 years with the previous company, and the company was one of my biggest mentors. Adored him. And but 20 years in that industry of, like you said, a good old boys club industry of exterior restoration in South Florida. I learned a tremendous amount. I enjoyed it, but I had grown tired, for lack of a better word at the moment, of just the concrete world. So I did plan on what's next, pivot, change, maturity, all those good things. What's next? So I retired from there, and then a competitor that been friendly with for many, many years, we talked, and it ended up that my retirement was a brief few months, and went back to not the concrete restoration world, but in the the construction industry with Promax for the interior design division. That we are working smart, and it's going really well, and it's only been a year.
Very exciting. Now, as an owner's rep, we are a big fan of your company, but we do not pay any favoritism, but we always like to have you at the table. And so I do want to be very clear on that. I don't want anybody to think that we're playing any favorites. But no, it's kind of neat. You kind of came inside. You did that exterior. Now, after 20 years, you've come inside. But it's not the fun time inside, because it's all about tearing everything out and rebuilding it. And as soon as your group is done, then you get to move on to the next project. Sort of like an air conditioner guy comes into your house when it's cold or when it's hot. And as soon as he does his job, he's got to move on. So you don't get to sit around and enjoy the fruits of the labor very well.
That's true. In some cases, absolutely. But the advantage of being part of Promax and then being in business for so many years in the concrete world down here in the 3 counties is that it's just a kind of a simple marriage of, you're doing the outside, so your inside needs renovation. So even if we are and we've probably got 3 projects right now with this scenario. So we're going to be on the outside for a couple of years. We're going to be on the inside for a couple of years, depending on the scope of the work for the interior. But I do get to enjoy some of it. I love the interior design aspect, although I am not a licensed interior designer, and we do have a licensed interior designer on staff. I get to be very involved with the design aspect of it. The actual construction of it, not so much. We have the PMs and so forth that handle that, but I love this. This is so much more fun. This is so much more exciting than boring concrete.
Well, listen, as a person who deals a lot with concrete, I still find it very exciting. Now, listen, I didn't tell you there were the rules of the game. You're really not supposed to do a lot of advertising for your company. You keep on mentioning Promax, and see, we just don't do that with this, do we?
Gotcha.
Now, wait, you're supposed to go like this.
Oh, it's supposed to go like this.
Are you familiar with the Terminator?
Yeah.
But it's not Arnold Schwarzenegger. It's actually a company that me and my partner own, and it's a clip designed to hang siding, to assemble vinyl siding, aluminum siding. Siding has been only hung one way in the industry for basically since its inception, for 50 years. And basically the analogy is if you could go back in time and patent the paper clip, well, we have done that, but that's another conversation for another day.
Very
I appreciate the shout out. And at some point when I meet you in person as a person in the industry, I think you'd like to hear the story, because it is pretty cool. I think you'd identify with it right away, even though Florida is not a vinyl siding state because of the weather. The rest of the country pretty much is. So it's an exciting side company that I have with American Building Contractors.
Look forward to it. Look forward to meeting you when you get here to Florida, and I'd love to talk about that.
Yes. So back to when Kelly was talking about that you took that pause for retirement. One of my favorite sayings always is I'm going to retire the afternoon of my funeral, because I couldn't even imagine, not getting up every day and having a mission and a purpose. I'm not, unlike Kelly, because Kelly's good at golf. Kelly might be looking forward to I can spend a lot more time on the course. But just for the way how I look at it, again, mission and purpose, is that part of the reason why you decided to just unretire from retiring?
Absolutely. I'm with you, Wayne. Retirement for me was just what's next. Retire from capital contractors. So absolutely, I can't imagine getting up every day and doing absolutely nothing. So while I do like to golf, I'm not good at it. I could be much better at it, and I could spend more time at the range and the course to get better at golf. I love to do all kinds of things. My actual plan was, and thought for some time, is to eventually end up in Spain, Northeast Spain. I'd like to not retire, but relocate to Northeast Spain. And I'd love to have a job, not a career, something to have purpose when I wake up in the morning. But the goal, move there, embed in that culture and travel around Europe. But I do want to get up every morning. And if it's to go to the bakery and work, or if it's to go some little local pub, whatever it is, to work and have a couple of dollars in my pocket and travel around Europe. That's my idea of retirement. But sitting on a sofa with bonbons and getting fat, not my idea of retirement.
No, Kelly's got that covered, because we're in an ab contest. Oh,
Just to be clear, I'm not a good golfer. I don't golf nearly as much as people think I do, although I've had moments where I did a retirement stint several years ago where I did play, and I got okay playing for probably up to 9 months. But anyway,
Nice.
I'm going to retire a week after I die. So there you go.
Okay.
Because I can't imagine it either. And we were talking about that this weekend when I was up in DC. Some friends of mine sold their company. And eventually it's one of these, where they buy it out, they stick around for some time. And we were talking about what their plans were. And I can't imagine what retirement would look like. My dad was a great golfer and he did it. But so the heck with, I don't even understand it. Retirement's not in the Bible, so I'm not doing it.
We're way too young to retire. If we're going to retire a week after we're dead, we got years for that.
100%. Yeah, I got months before that. So What? Wow, y'all can play that back at my funeral in a few months. Um, so let's go back in the day. What got you into construction 20 some years ago? How did that happen?
Well, prior to coming here to South Florida, I was up in the Northeast, and I worked with a developer out of Sicily, of all places, that came over to Philadelphia probably in the late 70s, early 80s, and he was doing tract homes. So I met him through a mutual friend, and I started selling tract home model homes. He'd build 3, 4, 500 houses on a tract of land. That didn't excite me as much as the development of the land did. So I started to work with him, finding land, and then through the processes of the purchase and the development of the land for homes. So understanding how homes were built and being in that side of the construction business, I thought it would be interesting to pursue that. However, I was sick and tired of the cold and the snow and the gray wind and the black ice roads and yeah, exactly, that Minnesota weather. So
Yeah.
so I said, where could I go that, so here I landed in Florida, obviously. And I was working briefly at the Marriott over in Fort Lauderdale Beach, sales and marketing. They had let go of their staff, and I had landed that job through a friend that was the GM. And I was actually headed to Ibiza, Spain to help open a Marriott. And then 9/11 happened. So when 9/11 occurred, of course, as most of everything happened in the US, was put on hold. And I ran into the founder of the previous company. And we started to chat. And the next thing you know, I'm in the construction world again. So led me here just because of weather. And but I've always enjoyed architecture and construction and design and development. So that's, I guess, how it landed there. Didn't know anything about concrete restoration. I knew how to build a property, but I had no idea how to restore a property. Isn't that a Seinfeld joke? You know how to take a reservation, you don't know how to hold a reservation.
Where's the car that you reserved for me? I love that episode. I love that one. It's like, oh, you don't reserve it for me, you reserve it for you, but yeah, that's brilliant. So I don't want to skip over this. Are you aware that Marriott actually lost a hotel and employees on 9/11 in New York?
Yes.
Yeah, which a lot of people aren't aware of that.
Yes.
I lost 2 friends on 9/11 in DC.
Wow.
And but one of my biggest clients when I was up in DC for a number of years was Marriott. And I have actually had the pleasure of meeting Bill and Richard,
Wow.
the 2 brothers, and did work for them and for their son, who's now the CEO.
Isn't he?
Pardon?
I think he's the CEO now, isn't he?
Yeah. So just incredible family. When Richard remembered my name after meeting me once, I knew who he was. But then I read Bill's book, and that's when I learned that they lost the hotel on 9/11. I had no idea, and it's a great book for someone. We're always talking about furthering our knowledge. That's a great read. Right now, I'm reading about Sheriff Arpaio, and I'm reading Last Man Down, which is the last.
Yes.
2 great books, and I met both of these guys.
Cool.
So anyway, I was really shocked, but it was really just you're reading about the greatest innkeeper family in the world, and then the last chapter goes on to that. It was tough. It became a very hard read at the end, but things that people have to remember. So wow, I always like to twist and turn. So so how was it in concrete? I mean, I deal with that every day. In that world, being a woman, how was it different, or is it just because you could come through everything with a mindset and it wasn't an issue?
Oh, certainly was a learning curve for me in regards to learning about concrete restoration of an existing building. So I was fortunate enough that one of the gentlemen that I worked with in there was ridiculously versed at it. And he was a huge mentor to me and taught me so much about restoration. But I also did a lot of reading. he would throw books at me and say, read this, understand that, just to learn the lingo, and spend a lot of time with engineering firms. So I would go to meetings and I would sit there with my little pen and paper, because we had that 20 years ago. We didn't have cute little iPads. And I still do that too. It's just old school. And so it was a process of learning. It was a good 2 to 3 years. And what I thought was most interesting was when I would show up to a pre-bid for a concrete restoration project, I would be the only woman in the room. And, oh, you must be the assistant coming to the pre-bid. So as I learned and went to these pre-bids and read specifications and asked questions of the engineer, then it started to be like, oh, she actually knows what she's talking about. And so it took some time, but I think I developed enough of a reputation in the industry that I actually knew what I was speaking about. And it was an interesting process, but never a moment that I ever felt, I don't know, afraid or not able to speak up because there was 10 men in the room and me. I never felt intimidated by, most times they were all very respectful. And again, as I learned the business, and the company that I worked for was reputable in the business, which certainly helped that we were able to actually do what I would be selling. It was a cool experience, and I don't have any regrets. I've always been in a male-dominated industry, from land development to the hotel business. Actually started buying some of my own crappy 3-story apartment buildings. I would sleep on the blow-up mattress on the first floor apartment, fix up myself and rent out the other two. I had enough money and kept buying them, and had no idea what I was doing. Actually was questioned at a closing, Sid, where's your license? And I pulled out my driver's license. I said, here you go. And they laughed. They're like, no. Where's your real estate license? Oh, I didn't know I needed one of those. So trial and error. I've always been in a male dominated industry, not so much anymore in the real estate business. Obviously over the last years of, the number of women, I don't know that anymore in regards to the land development side of it, but I don't know. I guess I've always been one of the boys and enjoyed.
I'll tell you that I knew of you as an industry leader in South Florida before I met you. So
Wow.
and that's how a couple people refer to you as an industry leader, not as I saw you get a Women Empowering Women's Woman of the Year award, and being recognized for that. And that's what the thing is. You're an industry leader. Forget the fact that you're a very attractive, well-spoken woman. You know your stuff, and people. I'm assuming for years people would, that facade drops within a second with anybody, whether it's male or female. In our industry, we're looking to see who knows what they're talking about, and those are the people that we want to gravitate to and do business with. And for that, I think there's, you probably powered through a wall that existed at some point, but when I was exposed to me, it wasn't even an issue. It was just that you knew your stuff.
Absolutely. And I think this whole industry and or globally of women being in positions, obviously, that were typically male dominated. So yeah, there's been a huge shift in women being in business. But I think back to our parents' generations where most women became housewives and or the stereotyping of the teacher or the nurse. And it was uncommon that a woman became a doctor or a veterinarian or an aerospace engineer or all the things that women are obviously have been capable of doing. But that was just how generations worked. And obviously, as things progressed, women are in wonderful CEO, CFO positions, industry leaders in their industry. So, but I'm still of the age that men being in the business, men should be in the business. I'm not one of these women that feel, and nothing against these women that feel this way, that, we're smarter and men shouldn't be there. Absolutely not. This is, I'm, like I said, of the generation that men in business, men mentoring me, men leading is still something that we should be doing. But we won't get into that whole political arena of why women feel the way that.
Yeah, I'm not touching that one. As a matter of fact, we actually I gave no warning. We've got about 60 seconds left. So your company, did you mention the company you're with?
No, I don't think so. Did I mention it again?
It was
That Pro Max Restoration Paint?
that's it. And we got the ABC, USA, Terminator. And of course we have
Mr. Coon.
LGC, your premier owner's rep firm. But we love having you on. I hate when time goes so quick.
It
And,
does.
It's amazing, but I guess that's what makes it fun. You always want to leave them doing more. I can't wait to introduce you two together at
Yes.
an event soon. And then we're going to go out golfing because I want to see if you guys, I think sometimes people are a lot better than they say they are. So we're going to find out.
All right,
Well,
we'll see that.
Yeah, not me. Sid, again, very, very, very nice to meet you. I'm looking forward to meeting you in person. Thank you for coming on our show. The last couple minutes where you talked about your placement in the industry, I believe could be a whole nother podcast by itself. Your no nonsense approach to life, to business in particular, more of that, please, with everybody. To me, it's just very, very, very nice to hear that. We all have a place at the table. I understand there's pockets of this and pockets of that, but when it all comes down to it, to Kelly's point, let's see who's got the skill set to come to the table. No matter what gender or color you are, everybody will be on an equal plane, but it's the value that you bring. And I think you bring a hell of a lot. And thank you for sharing.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on, guys. I appreciate it. It was a blast. And I look forward to doing another one. And can't wait to meet you when you get here.
Appreciate it. Thanks, you guys.
All right, guys.
Everybody have a
Have a
great rest of the week.
All right. Ciao.